Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Don. I'm going to talk to you today about what I believe is the most important thing you will ever teach your dog. And that is to come to you when you call them and they're not on a leash. Because thousands of dogs die every year when they're hit by cars. And this is such a preventable tragedy. Guys, I'm not a professional dog trainer, but I have had a lot of dogs in my life. I have researched what the best dog trainers in the world do to become successful. And I'm also going to talk to you about some things I've come up with on my own that are proven to work. One of the problems is a lot of people think they have control over their dog. When they're in their backyard and they call them, they come. When they're in the house and they call them, they come to them. The problem is, guys, if you get into that situation where you're out in public and they're loose, and there's a major distraction, like another dog on the other side of the road. Okay, if your dog loves to play with other dogs, this is a distraction that will tune you out. So when you call them, that's background noise. They are 99% focused on that dog across the street that they want to go play with. So no matter how many times you call them, they're barely hearing that because they are laser focused on that distraction across the street. And then tragedy happens. So let's talk about some of the fundamental mistakes that people make when they go to train their dogs. One of them is, guys, they do it at the wrong time. They do it after they have fed their dog. Now they're not very food motivated. This is a big mistake, guys. You want to train your dog in the morning before you've given them breakfast. They are now extremely hungry and very food motivated. The type of training that I've always done is based on positive reinforcement and rewards. And that's what I recommend people do. And when you train a dog that is very hungry, okay, this is going to reinforce the reward system, okay? So another thing that people do wrong is they set out, even some professional trainers do this, they train them too long. Let's say it's your day off and you want to spend some time training your dog and you decide, I'm going to spend 30 or 45 minutes or even an hour training the dog. Way too long, guys. Dogs' attention span is very brief. You want to get the best results? Train them for 5 to 7 minutes, very intense training, and then give them a break. For 10 or 15 minutes, just let them do whatever they want to do. If they want to go to their bed and lie down, if they want to play fetch, and giving them a little exercise will help get all of that build-up energy out of them. But give them that 10 to 15 minute break, then train them again. Another 5 to 7 minutes, then another break. If you don't do that, they will get frustrated very quickly. That frustration will carry over to you. The training session will not be all that beneficial. By giving them these breaks, they're now refreshed and ready to focus again. You could do this for 45 minutes to an hour with the breaks in there, and teach your dog some valuable lessons that can save their life. One of the things I want to talk to you about, guys, before we talk about the actual training, is the collar that you use on your dog. I believe another fundamental mistake people are making is they're using the traditional dog collar. The problem I have with that, guys, is it has to be extremely tight around your dog's neck And even if it is, when you pull hard on the leash, it could come over their head and come completely off. And now their dog is loose. That actually happened with my dog, Kimba. I would venture to say this happens with many dogs around the world. Every day, they get loose that way, and then they run out into the street, and tragedy happens. Guys, what I did is I went out and got Kimba something called a choker chain. Don't let that word choker scare you away. I actually got him a choker rope because it's much easier on their necks, okay? Much more comfortable. Look how loose and comfortable this is compared to a traditional dog collar that is choking your dog all day. Now, when you need control over your dog, you pull on it, and it's almost impossible to get off. But once you ease up on it, it's loose and comfortable again. You will have a happier dog with the choker chain. Now what you could do is the traditional dog collar, you can leave that on all day, but just leave it on loose with the tags so it's comfortable for the dog. When it's time to walk him, you go with this. I would call this more of a safety collar than a choker. The traditional collar is the one that's choking them all day long, okay? This tightens up when you need it tight, okay? When you don't want him to get loose and run out into the street, that's when you want it nice and tight, guys, okay? Again, the rest of the time, it's loose and comfortable. They also have harnesses where when you pull them, they tighten up like that. And they also have these leashes where you put them around the dog's muzzle and attach it to their head. And when you pull it, it turns their whole head. Guys, I encourage you to do a lot of research on all these alternative collars and leashes before you make a decision to go with the traditional leash and collar. This could be a difference between life and death, between keeping your dog safely under your control or allowing them to get loose. Now let's talk about the actual training, okay? We want to keep the dog in a secure environment. Now, if you have a fenced-in yard, guys, I encourage you every day to check the integrity of that fence. I have seen animals dig a hole under fences in 15 minutes, okay? You may have a bush in front of your fence and the dog's digging a hole. He's chipping away at it every day, spends a few minutes on it, or he does it all at once. You don't know the hole is there. They could easily get under the fence. I've seen it done. This happens all the time, guys. And then the dog gets loose, and it either gets lost or it gets hit by a car. Guys, these are tragedies that are so easily prevented. That's why I'm doing this video. So please, check the integrity of your fence. I also want to encourage you to always use a leash. Even if you have one of those dogs who seems to follow you around everywhere, you think you have complete control over them. It just takes that one time, guys, where a squirrel crosses the road and that dog that usually listens to you on this particular day decides to run after the squirrel, crosses the street, and tragedy happens, okay? I'm trying to prevent that, guys. I'm asking you to rethink that decision and go with the leash, okay? So now we're going to get into the actual training. The first one I want to talk to you about is clapping your hands to save your dog's life. One of the things that professionals use are dog whistles, okay? and clickers. And this works really good for regular training, but what I'm talking about is emergency training. We're specifically talking about the come command. In an emergency situation, you're probably not going to conveniently have a clicker or a whistle on you. So I want to teach you to use what you will have on you, your hands and your pockets, okay? Because another thing dog trainers use are these treat pouches when they're training them. They have this little pouch that they hook up to their belt and they fill it up with treats and they're constantly rewarding them. That's all well and good. But again, in an emergency situation, you are not going to conveniently have one of those on you. So I recommend you put the treats in your pocket. You're going to find out how this could save your dog's life in a few minutes. So we're starting out the training session, guys, in your backyard that's fenced in or in your living room at the proper time. In the morning, when your dog is very, very hungry and extremely food motivated. So now when you go to reward him with that treat, he's very much going to appreciate it and respond, okay? I prefer you use only one or two words with the come command, either the dog's name or the word come or both. I used Kimba, come. A lot of people who are smart will either stick with that or just use the word come or just use the dog's name. To use an entire phrase like, okay, Kimba, come on over here, you're using too many words. You're asking the dog to remember 4, 5, 6, 7 words. Guys, while they are capable of remembering that, it's going to be very difficult for them. 1 or 2 words, they are very capable of learning that and learning it very quickly. Also, it's very extremely important that you use the same word or two consistently every time. Don't use one word one time and another word another time. Stay consistent. They're all about repetition and routine. They respond to that. So here we are, we're training the dog in a controlled environment at the right time when they're hungry. You have the treats in your pocket. Very important. You have the dog about 10, 15 feet away. You clap your hands. You call them, Kimba, come. You get the treat out. They see it. They're very hungry. They're going to come to you. As you give them the treat, guys, you reach over their head and grab them by the back of the neck. That skin is called the scruff of the neck. It gets very loose and there's a lot of it. You can grab onto it like this. It doesn't hurt them. Now you got them. Now you have your dog. If you're around a busy road, you've got control over him. You can now save his life. Now in the training, guys, the reason I want you to keep the treats in the pocket is I want you to reach into the pocket. I want you to show the dog you're reaching into the pocket, and I want you to make a big deal about that. A lot of arm movement, reaching deep into the pocket, and then you get the treat. Again, as you're giving him the reward after he comes, always reach over and grab him by the back of the neck. They're going to associate you grabbing them by the back of the neck with the reward. Because every time you're doing that, they're very hungry and they're getting a treat, they're getting food. So getting grabbed on the back of the neck to them is a good thing because it means they're getting fed. You do this over and over. You do this 20 or 30 times. And you could easily do that 20 or 30 times in a 5 to 7 minute period. Then you give the dog a break. 10, 15 minutes, let them do whatever they want. Then we do it again, 20 or 30 times. And then another break. After 2 or 3 weeks, your dog is going to have that down without, guys, okay? Now all you need to do is reinforce it. And that's very easy to do at the right time. Every morning before you feed him, again, when he's nice and hungry, that is the best time to train the dog. This could only take 5 or 10 seconds. Right before you give him the food, you go into the living room, you get him 10 or 15 feet away, you call him, clap your hands. As they're coming over, you make a big deal out of reaching deep into your pocket. Again, this arm movement, guys, is crucial. Reach into your pocket, you show them, you're pulling it out of your pocket, here's the treat. Again, you reach over. Now, if you have an aggressive dog and you're concerned as you reach over to grab the back of his neck that they're going to bite you, you take whatever precautions that you need to do. But guys, this has worked for me. I have seen this work. Here's what happens in an emergency situation. You're probably not going to have any treats on you. But when your dog gets loose and you clap your hands and call him, and then he sees you reach into your pocket and you do the same arm movement, a lot of arm movement, showing him you're reaching deep into your pocket. You've done this thousands of times now. You're doing this every morning, and the dog is 7 or 8 years old. 365 mornings a year. You've now done this thousands of times. The dog has seen this done over and over again. He knows what you're doing. You're reaching into your pocket to get him a treat. Now, guys, in an emergency situation, the come command is very difficult because there may be a tremendous distraction. This is not guaranteed to work. There is nothing that is guaranteed to work. Goodness, if there's a major distraction like a cat or a dog across the street and they're focused on it and they want to go over there, at least this gives you a chance. And the reason it gives you a very good chance is if you've reinforced it every morning, which is going to take you all of 5 seconds, guys. If you put it into your routine, this isn't work, it's 5 seconds. Kimber, come. Reach into your pocket, you give him the treat, you grab him by the back of the neck. That takes you 5 seconds. But if you're doing it every morning over the year, it's thousands of repetitions. So if there's a major distraction across the street and they are laser focused on it and they're ready to go, but they hear that clap and they see you go with the hand in the pocket again for the 5,000th time, they may want to come for the treat. Guys, at least you have a chance, a significant chance. You now have that life-saving knowledge. I suggest you pass that on to the one you love so you can save them, okay? So now let's talk about another strategy that can help you that actually worked with my wonderful dog, Kimber. One of the things I used to do with Kim is I would lie down on my back and I would go like this to wrestle with him. The minute he saw me going like this, big smile came on his face. He came over and we're going at it, and I'm grabbing him and horsing around with him. He loved that. Well, one time when I had the traditional collar on him, and I pulled it, it came off over his head, he was completely loose. Guys, when they're loose like that, they want to now explore their newly found freedom. And they're going to start running around. If you run after them, they will run away from you. I immediately got on my back and started going like this, and since we did that every day, Kimber could not resist. So instead of focusing on some other distraction, he came over to wrestle, and the minute he did, I got him. Guys, you could get on the ground and roll around in the grass. You could do anything you can think of. Clapping your hands to draw attention, okay? Put your hand in your pocket like you're trying to get a treat out. Once they come over to you, you get them. You can now save your dog. That's a second strategy you now have. Let's talk about a third one, guys, which is reverse psychology. Again, if you have one of those dogs that just does not listen when they're loose because they're focused on other things, if you run after them, they will run away from you, okay? With reverse psychology, you clap your hands and run away from them. It's now their nature to chase you. See, this is a game to them. That's why if you run after them, they will run in the opposite direction. They don't want you to get them. No matter how much they love you, they think it's a game. They just don't realize it's a deadly game. And you desperately need to catch them. The more you run after them, the further they're going to run away. So what you do is with reverse psychology, you clap their hands. Once they see you, you can put your hand in your pocket like you're going to get them a treat, but you also turn and run to a safe area. If you're at home, you could run right into your house. Part of the training I did with Kimba is I had him on a 15-foot leash, okay? And what I would do is I would prop the door open, I would let him go 15 feet out, and I'd clap my hands and call him, "Hey, Kimba," and I would turn around and run into the house. He'd follow me right in. Most of them are going to do that, guys, okay? Now, you praise them the minute you get in there. Whenever you call a dog and they come to you, you always praise them. Never, when a dog comes to you, do you reprimand them, because they will then associate the fact that when they came to you, it was bad news. No, you always praise them when they come to you, okay? So guys, you could train in your own home to run right into the front door. Now, if you're not anywhere near your home and they get loose, and the method you decide to try is to clap your hands and run away from them, you run to the safest area you can find. Away from the cars, away from traffic, to an area where there's some open grass, some trees, wherever you think it's safe. And if you see people around, you can call out to them, recruit them to help you. "Hey guys, my dog get loose, I'm trying to catch him." They will want to help you, okay? But remember, guys, if you run away from them, they have a natural tendency to want to chase things, okay? This is something you now have in your favor. You're running, you're clapping, and you're drawing attention to yourself, but you're running away from them. This is another strategy, guys. This actually worked on Thanksgiving morning one day. I was hiking on a beautiful trail, and this woman, her dog got loose, and she was frantic because she was afraid that there were so many woods, the dog would get lost and she'd never see it again. She ran after the dog, couldn't catch him. I said, "Ma'am, clap your hands and run away from the dog. Your dog will turn around and follow you." She did what I said, and that's exactly what the dog did, start running after the woman. But every time the dog got within arm's length, it would turn around and run away from her. She said to me, "Now what do I do?" And what came into my mind was I told her, "Run past me, and I'll act like I'm just minding my own business here, and I'm not paying attention to what's going on. And just as the dog is running by me, I'll turn around and try to grab him." And it worked. She couldn't stop thanking me. And it was Thanksgiving morning. I took the dog and I said, "Happy Thanksgiving." Guys, I'm doing this video because I want you to have pleasant stories to tell people, not tragedies. So I'm hoping you learn these strategies and you pass them on to other people. The final strategy I'm going to tell you about also worked for a neighbor of mine a few years ago. Her dog got loose and she was so worried. She could not catch the dog. She ran after it, and no matter how fast she ran, the dog was always 2 steps ahead of her. I said to her, let's tire the dog out. We directed somebody to go get a bowl of water. Meanwhile, the girl ran back and forth and her dog chased her. Then I would run back and forth and the dog would chase me. After about 10 minutes of this, guys, this dog was so tired, it was no longer interested in exploring its newly found freedom, okay? It now wanted a drink of water. And it came to the water bowl and she got her dog. Guys, these strategies give you a reasonable chance of getting your dog back before tragedy strikes. That's why I'm bringing these videos to you, to help save the lives of these creatures you have come to know and love so dearly. If this video helped you out, I hope you will click on the like icon and subscribe to my channel and take this journey with me. Travel with me through the Holy Scriptures to see what the Bible says about where animals will spend eternity. God bless.